Hello everyone, this is Fanny. Well, I'm making a short video because, it's desperating when you're making videos and you got no views. No, I'm not really sure anyone is watching my content still, but some people are, important people, so I continue for you. And still, who are you when no one is watching? What are your passions? What animates you? This is the thing you don't want to let vanish. Otherwise, globalization is going to win. So I just wanted to make a statement and say that I support the US government 1000%, even though it seems like there's wars everywhere right now. But this is just the result of decades of non-violent mediation, which in theory, of course, we all want peace. We all want non-violent diplomacy. But while people realized that nothing was happening to them, they built back their gangs. They traumatized their citizens. They kidnapped journalists, tortured them. It's everywhere, in Iran, in Afghanistan. Two Nobel Prize winners in Afghanistan, one who got shot in Afghanistan, one who got kidnapped and tortured, a journalist, Narges Mohammadi, in Iran, Malala, of course, in Afghanistan. In Lebanon, we did this retreat years ago online, trying to talk about new ways to see religions, medicine, and stuff like that. There were bombings after that. I don't know if it's related or not. It's just a lot of coincidences that happen when women or new waves of consciousness come to disturb the old traditions, and it goes along with science. Of course, religion is going to evolve because science evolves as we make new discoveries, new researches. What was esoteric or witchcraft, knowledge before that was damned, it was like all the scary stuff. Now it's becoming completely normal. It's becoming science. So of course it's hard for people to change their ways, but if they don't want to evolve with the modern times, then they cannot be a part of it. If they keep torturing women, beating them up, doing terrorism all across the regions in the Middle East, in like Hamas did in Palestine, then it goes back against them. So of course, the genocide in Israel is something completely apart and very delicate because they're playing the card. Israel is playing the card of those terrorists in Hamas to take over the land and kill everyone because they're in the land that they want. So this is not acceptable. This has to be followed up by the International Court of Justice. Prime Minister Netanyahu has been found guilty of genocide by the International Court. The United States is cooperating with them because they're doing this big work on anti-terrorism in the region. So of course, this one is a part and is very delicate, and they have nuclear weapons in the middle. So this is why we've been fighting for so many years against the nuclear blackmail, because now they can do whatever they want. Nothing's going to happen to them. But at least for where we can intervene, I'm happy. For years, all my time in the United States, all I've heard is no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save you, Put your oxygen mask on first. Individualism, you're now responsible for others. They have to go through this dark night. They have to go, what? Because you need to suffer to learn the world. You need to suffer to become a better person. I'm sorry, this is not true. And I've been fighting for this for a decade. So now I see people who are going to save you, who are going to save women in Iran, who are going to save the people in Venezuela, who are taking action, not just beautiful speeches for peace, but they're actually using violence and demolishing those torturers of women and dictators to restore the peace in the long run. Yes, sometimes you have to shake things up. Otherwise, the status quo is very dangerous. Silently, I'm talking about myself too. People, there was this explosion in Lebanon. Then there was this terrorist attack in my own city in France. They're all people trying to scare me, for standing up against the misogyny of the military and all these communities of men, millionaires, who win everything. Why? Because women are the one buying. We make them millionaires, and then they try to help you, but they're not. You have to deal on your own, and I've been preaching against this for a decade, and I'm so sick of it. I was a victim, treated like a criminal, and people saw it. People realized that, and they were all preaching for my case. That's nice. It warmed up my heart. This is why I love my network so much. They were here for me. They preached for my case, but no one did anything. The United Nations, they never gave me a job. I applied like 30 times by now for any kind of jobs, not just the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations director. You're going to say, oh, well, she wants to be on top right away. No, I applied for any type of job. Proofreader, project manager, translator. I applied for any types of jobs at the United Nations. And then I kept going higher and higher. I was like, if they don't want me in the lower jobs, I'm going to go higher and higher. All right, but at least I explored all the missions of the UN. So that was also a learning for me. But they still didn't give me a job, okay? And all the millionaires, billionaires who came and defended me or showed interest in my work, you want some names, I'm going to say Forbidden Knowledge, the Masterminds, the Kardashians, the White House, like all these people that I cheered for them. I was their biggest fan, their biggest cheerleader. I wrote about them. They put so much time and energy into me. I was so grateful. I love them. But when you're placing all your hopes in people that you think they're going to come and change your life, they're going to make it, they're going to do something. They see you're alone. You don't have family. You have the skills, but nobody's giving you the opportunity. And then new people come in the game and you're placing your hopes in them. And one after the other, they betray you. They let you down. They watch you lose everything, lose your house, your family, be in struggle. I'm coming back to my country. Like my worst nightmare was to come back here with nothing, like I came, like a straight failure. But I don't care. I don't care looking stupid. I don't care looking ridiculous, embarrassing myself, because at least I tried. 8 years ago when I got divorced, everybody told me, come back to France, leave everything, come back. I wasn't ready. I was like, no, I know there is so much with this art that is so powerful. I want to teach that. I want to give everything for my business. I want to keep my house. I want to give this house to my son. If at least I can accomplish one thing in my life, is to make the next generation better. It's nice when I can come back to where I grew up and there is a home for me. So I think the duty of a parent is to leave real estate to their children at least, and to be there for them. So I was there for my child. I did everything for him to have a real estate when he's older. So of course they hate me now. They don't realize, they don't see the long term. My ex, his dad and my son, they're like, oh, you're not giving us anything. I was like, I gave you a house, guys. But anyways, enough talking about me. If you're going into people's lives, giving them hope that you're going to make a difference and you're going to help them, and then you let them down, imagine the pain, like become your entire world, and you realize they're not any better than the ones who came before and did nothing for you. So that's why I'm so excited. I'm not going to say they did nothing for me, my mentors, all those people. They kept me going. They gave me inspiration. They, came, showed us, how to be beautiful, and they taught a lot along the way. But when you're a billionaire and you see someone you could change their lives in 2 minutes, buy a painting, just buy a painting, publish my book, Forbidden Knowledge. They said they were going to publish my book, on the phone, straight to my face. He said that in person when I went to see them. They said they were going to publish my book. They didn't. The mastermind, they asked me to write this book, to publish it. They didn't. I asked them for a job, they didn't. The United Nations, they didn't. You know, they've let me struggle. So it makes you lose faith in people. It makes you angry, and this is why the wars happen, because people are taught to betray each other. And um years of preaching for denuclearization, for disarmament, for peace, for network. I was the one tying all the network together for a decade. And they didn't invest into that. Okay, Pachamama, I'm important. My business, my page is important. This is all the energy that I gathered from all the websites, the sacred sites in the world. Stonehenge, since a very young age, I traveled to all the sacred places. I went to Stonehenge. I went to Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the Khmer Kingdom. I went to Thailand. I went to, of course, Machu Picchu 3 times, which is where I received all the mission of bringing the Pachamama, the shamanism, the holistic medicine, the consciousness to the United States. Right after that, I came here. In Mexico, it was all the aliens. I received all the downloads and the light codes and stuff from Mexico. And then he followed me in New Orleans, and I wrote the books. I brought the proofs also of everything that was being researched by the science at the same time. So the voice of Pachamama, it's a whole hemisphere of shamanism and the voice of the environment, of nature, which at the same time, I'm passionate about technology. I'm passionate about engineering and the space industry, aliens, everything, planets and stuff. I love the technology. So my work is important. You know, it's the alliance of the eagle and the condor, of the economic power and the environment, the spirituality. So you guys did not invest into that, right? Even though I proved you 2 million times why it was important. So what's going on now? Wars everywhere. They're investing into weapons. All the opposite. So your inaction and the silence of people and the betrayals and the non-violent mediation, just making beautiful speeches to say, we must let journalists do their jobs and stuff. They don't care about the speeches. Yes, they're inspiring, but you, at some point, you have to choose violence. If you don't want to share the gold, then it's going to be blood. And I'm sorry to say that. This was not my vision 10 years ago. So no, you don't become a better person after you suffer. You become a worse person. If you let people suffer, they're going to be angry. They're going to want to revenge. And they don't care. You don't care so much. You know, you're actually happy to see some dictators being blown up. I'm so excited about this. So it's time to change the mentalities, to stop saying that you have to go through the suffering to understand. This is just excuses, right? This is cowardice, if I pronounce it right, for people trying to justify themselves not participating, not helping. They justify it saying, oh, this is your journey. You have to go through the suffering, you know, so you can understand and help others. No, I was already like this. I was already helping people. I was already having empathy for people, except that before I was kind and I loved everyone. And now I'm still kind and still love everyone, but I also like to see some blood, you know, because I'm fucking pissed off. So it's time to change the mentalities and to work more on prevention, which goes through education, through doing funds for small businesses, promoting cultures. My whole master's degree dissertation was about the promotion of the indigenous culture in Peru. So I always believed that. If you're promoting, you help people traveling. One thing I love is airline credit cards. You know, having points, the more you travel, the more you accumulate points. So it encourages people to travel, to discover the world, to see new cultures. And then you become more empathetic because you're like, look, in Venezuela, by being a teacher, and I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for my work as a teacher because I got to meet all those kids of immigrants and understand, you know, why they didn't have a choice in coming. But now they're fixing up. Rubio, he's also son of immigrants. So they're fixing the problem where it started. They're taking down the dictator so people don't have to flee from their country. And this is exactly my whole entire program that I sent to the White House, that I've been publishing online. So I'm so grateful for them using that program to restore order in the world before we can bring back peace. And maybe also bringing a little bit of fear from the United States and from our alliances. So then they're not tempted to replicate that. And this is where UNESCO is going to come into place with education programs where we have to go teach those children who have been, their parents were brainwashed by radical Islam, and maybe in Palestine, you know, they're going to hate Americans. Of course, they've seen all their country, their land destroyed and everything. So this is where we have to be there right away when peace comes in, to teach them, to show the good side of us and teach them about culture, about arts, about languages, or whatever, their engineering, and give them the opportunities, you know, to do partnerships from their country or to travel to other countries to become a part of the society. Give them boutiques, you know, so where they can put their shops, they can continue their traditional arts, their crafts, their cooking, all this stuff. Everything is culture. Everything starts with culture, because when you go out, you know, I go to the old city in Nice and I'm just walking and I'm happy. I'm just walking and I'm looking at all the little galleries, the restaurants, the little shops. And every time I go, I'm talking to people. My boyfriend is like, you're flirting with everybody. How could I trust you? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not flirting. I'm just talking. I'm just talking to people. I'm excited because in the US, I haven't seen this for 10 years. It's like you drive from place A to place B. Just when you're in contact with other people, you socialize, you see beautiful things, you know, it makes me just happy. So I don't even have to buy the things, just to see it, have this physical contact with culture. This is what we have to rebuild after all this drama that is happening right now. But it was necessary, you know? So that is the cost of inaction. And once again, of course, I'm always, always, always admirative of humanitarians. Them, they are heroes. No matter where, no matter when, they're always there. When it's peaceful, they're protecting the patrimony. When it's wars, they're the first one on the ground to provide medical aid, to provide shelter and food and assistance. They put their own lives at risk, even when there's like wars going on. So they are, of course, the true heroes. But the United Nations, they have to work in close collaboration with the military, because sometimes you need to use the force. And that's why it's, I think also, you know, there is a lot of, it's diplomacy, you know, the good cop, bad cop. The United Nations, they have to preach for peaceful negotiations. They have to stand for non-violence. They have to warn about escalations. This is their job. It doesn't mean they don't agree with what's going on with the government. They have to differentiate their own opinion and affinities with what's happening and the duty of the mission of the United Nations, which is to have the non-violent speech. Okay, so this is what we're seeing right now. They are in partnerships, even if it looks like the UN and the US government right now, they're not in their best coordination because they've been cutting funds. You know, the government cuts their funds. And yeah, but I still think that it's a good combination of trying to stay calm and showing the right way to do things, and then doing what you gotta do when there's no other choices, you know? But yeah, so remember, you know, you vote with your money. Wherever you invest or don't invest determines the future of the society that we're creating. So, yes, I'm glad when I see people like Mariam Bukar Hassan, who is, you know, from Nigeria, and she's such a talented poet, making it to New York City and having her voice amplified. This inspires me. I'm very happy for her, and we need more young people putting on at the table, at the world table. I'm very disappointed for my own case on how much energy I've put into the UN and the US, how I was treating like a criminal when I was a victim. But I'm glad that I got to see the dysfunctioning of society, so I could actually expose it and they could fix the problems. Right now, I don't think the United States is a good place to live. Everything is so expensive. That's crazy. Here, I pay $37 for my car insurance every month. Okay, $37 for my car insurance every month. In the US, I was paying $200 every month. Here, I pay 20 euros for my phone every month. In the US, I was paying 100. Okay, so the United States is too expensive. It's impossible to live if you're single. It's impossible for a single woman or a single mother to become owner of a place. It's unacceptable. But I think by solving what's going on outside the country, in the long run, is going to benefit inside the country. But they should definitely take down those interest rates and whatever. I'm gone now. This is behind. You know, I'm so happy I'm gone. I was never feeling safe. I was always so stressful here. It's calm. Like, literally, I got nothing to do. And, you know, it's cool. You know, drugs, alcohol, having fun, parties, blissful ignorance. Can you ever forget about the things you care about just because you're disappointed? I think you can't. If it's a part of you, you can't. It's always gonna be. That's why giving up is like giving the reason to the injustice. You can never give up. You just have to keep trying. So at the end of your life, whether you succeed or you don't have no regrets of saying, man, what if I tried? And maybe at the end of my life, I'll say, man, I shouldn't have put so much energies in things that were not working out. Maybe I should have enjoyed my life more, enjoyed the moments more. But let me tell you something. One more thing I wanted to say. I almost forget. You know what bothers me? In France. It's one thing about France. In America, everything is possible. They tell you, you know, you can become whoever you want. It's in the mentality that everything is possible. In France, it's the complete opposite. The French, they love to criticize the government. This is all they do. They hate the president. Every time you go to, if you're at dinner and you want to have a conversation that everybody loves, you start criticizing the president. You start criticizing the government. You know, they hate. And this is since I was a kid. Everybody hates the government. Well, they do this, they're evil, they corrupt, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, then first, I don't believe that. I believe that there's people like us who decide to become doctors, who decide to become politicians, who decide to go in the system to make it better. Just because some people do make it doesn't mean that they're all corrupt. So I don't think that's true. But if it is, then what are you doing? Why don't you go and change it? Why don't you try to go there? It's way above us. It's way above us. They're not listening to us. There's this separation between those who succeed and all the rest of the people. And I'm like, well, then you have a duty. Then, the politicians, honestly, it's not easy to become the president. They went through becoming the mayor and doing the communal stuff. Then, they went all the way up, which nobody wants to do. Nobody has this patience to do all this stuff. This is your duty, to integrate the system, infiltrate the system, and be patient and do what you got to do and never give up until you are there. And then if you can do things better, then do it better. But if you're all your life, I always argue with my mom all the time because, they're evil. They're evil. I was like, okay, then go change it. Go do better. They're like, we can't. Well, okay, but then stop criticizing if you can't change it. Why are you wasting your energy? It's either you criticize but you go for it, or even better than criticizing, you offer the solutions and then they listen to it. They're like, nobody's listening. It's like, yeah, they're listening to me. And then they start laughing. Yeah, okay. You see, they won't even believe. That's why I don't tell my story to the only people who actually know me. That's crazy to say. That's crazy, but the only people who actually know me is probably you watching this right now. The people who follow my Facebook, my Instagram for many, many years. The people who can read between the lines, who understand the symbolism, the language, the diplomatic language and all this stuff, who can actually know me and my story. Because even when I tell my story to my friends, they laugh and they don't believe me. And then they're like, you look like you have a lot of secrets. I was like, well, maybe, but even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. So I'm not gonna say. Just go start watching my videos. Go start following my page. Because even though there's no likes, there's no views, it looks like it's completely abandoned. Those rooms that I left vacant, but they hold the keys to the whole of them are empty. This is what's going on. This is where we share the ideas of everyone. We ask questions. We are right, we are wrong sometimes, but at least we try. And yes, that's it, guys. So either if you don't like something, you go and change it, or you stop bothering those who are trying and criticizing. If you don't think you can do better, then blissful ignorance. Drug, alcohol, sex, have fun, or maybe a little bit of both. But yeah, don't believe that you are powerless. It doesn't take that long. Mostly nowadays with the social media, all the opportunities to have, I can tag the president of the United States. Literally, I can make a post and I can tag Marco Rubio. I can tag the Nobel Prize Committee. I can tag the Department of War. I can tag Elon Musk, So this is the best time ever in history if you want someone to listen to you. I'm not saying that they're going to listen on the first try because they have millions. But if you've been doing this for 10 years and you're talking to them every day and you're tagging them and you're providing relevant content and you're making the effort, you're providing things that are accurate, funny, or true stories, you're being honest, then they're going to start listening. And maybe then you can work together and partner and improve the things. Maybe right now I have no money, I have no job, but I have my brain and I have good ideas. And the passion, the connection, and sometimes energies do the work for you. You know, if I have all this energy from these sacred places, maybe that's the energy that's gonna go knock at this guy's, little door in there, the one who has the arsenal, and the energy is gonna say, pay attention to that person, and what they say. And beam, this guy is over there and he's doing the work for you to make your ideas happen. You have to believe in the magic also a little bit. So that's what happened. All right, everyone, have a good day and be cool.